another monstrous setup chapter for One Piece from Oda. And listen, I don't know what Oda's got cooked up after Wano, but whatever it is, it has to involve a rescue arc. There's way too many types of foreshadowing, not only from this chapter, but from this arc alone, that either Shirahoshi or now Vivi may end up being kidnapped after the reverie. Whatever Oda has in store after Wano could even be more monstrous than Wano itself. So let's start off, I guess, the cover page. Olympus, once again, on cover story. I hope this is the last of it, so we can move on from the Straw Hat Grand Fleet to the rest of the world with the cover stories. But we start off the chapter, I guess, with Moncherie of the Tontaras healing up Princess Shirahoshi. So that's kind of cool. The smallest princess meeting the biggest princess in the world. So that's kind of cool. Come to find out, she got bruised up, trying to be shackled up by the guard of Charlos, the Tenryubito. And speaking of which, we do see Charlos getting patched up because he got knocked out. He got punched in the face again by Mosgard. Mosgard comes to pretty much lays down the law, says, listen, unless it revolts to Shirahoshi, you can strike back at a Tenryubito. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to be guarding Shirahoshi during the reverie, which to me means somebody's going to take him out before this arc is over. Once again, Oda just teasing the red flag when it comes to the kidnapping of Shirahoshi. She might end up on Wano, but if she doesn't, she's going to get kidnapped by a celestial dragon or somebody else. The father of Charles, we saw him during the Sabri Archipelago arc, pre-time skip, so this is the post-time skip of Rosward, Saint Rosward, the father. We don't really get to see the mother, but we get to see Rosward, and this is the biggest part of the chapter, because we literally see Rosward riding on top of Kuma, Bartholomew Kuma. I thought it was a pastafista, but Shichibukai of the revolutionaries, plus apparently the former king of Sorbet, so that's like interesting world building. What? So this guy is treating Kuma like a slave, and
Suzuka67, shout out to you for posting this on my live reaction video, but he got really heartbroken about Kuma being a slave for the celestial dragons. It comes up with a really interesting theory, and it makes sense given the circumstances, but he says maybe Bonney's, because she cried, which I saw as well, about Kuma being in that state, maybe because of her hatred for the government, maybe she'll team up with the revolutionaries. Or
listen, I don't know what's going to happen. It tears him up because obviously Kuma is an epic character, and seeing him in this manner, a slave to a Tenryubito, we know how powerful Kuma is. Okay, so for him to be reduced to this is kind of like, it's heartbreaking. It really is. When you consider how much Kuma went through to protect the Sunny, this is the first time we've seen him since then. So this is me to another thing. We actually see the revolutionary Sabo. Sabo gets pissed because he knows now that Kuma is a slave to Tenryubito, and we know how he feels about that. So that's got, and it almost blew his cover because he's like, yo, I'm gonna go out there now and fuck him up. So and like, yeah, the rest of the commanders like, calm him down. So like, no, don't do that because we only get one chance of this. If we fail, we're dead. So that to me is foreshadowing. So if the revolutionaries fail, which I think they will, one of the revolutionaries is either going to get killed or kidnapped, and it could be Sabo, because we have other members of the Kamabaka Kingdom waiting out, chilling out just in case. I think Dragon did that deliberately because he knows it could fail, in my opinion. So we could, like I said, there are way too many bits of foreshadowing for a rescue arc after Wano. Whether it's one of the revolutionaries, whether it's Vivi or the Netara family and Alabasta or Shirahoshi, there's going to be a kidnapping and it's going to be a rescue arc. And another thing that I thought of, and I said this during my live reaction, Luffy, if he finds out about this, about Kuma being a slave to the Tenryubito, we know how he feels about Tenryubitos anyway. But if Luffy finds out and the rest of the Straw Hats find out that Kuma's a slave, they're going to be pissed just due to the fact that Kuma pretty much wrecked himself trying to protect the Sunny while the Straw Hats were away during the time skip. So, not to mention Robin's ties with the Revolutionary Army as it is. So she could be pissed off too, and rescue arc entails, because obviously Luffy's going to be a center of it. So I'm just saying right now, whatever Oda's got cooked up is going to be epic. Speaking of which, this is another like what the part of the chapter, because we see Princess Connie or Queen Connie. I should have figured it out with Bonney from the get-go, because number one, the name And the marking and the lipstick, she really does look like a big mom, now that I think about it. So, but obviously we didn't really know. And we know she can manipulate her age, right? So, come to find out, Bonney is also a Merojo. And she tears up because she sees Kuma. And remember, Bonney kind of respected Law and Luffy after the issue with on Dressrosa. The last time we saw her, she was eating pizza as a child. We know she escaped, somehow she escaped Al-Qaeda during the time skip, and she was under persecution. That's the last time we saw her, so it's kind of cool to see. I thought we might see Bonney after Whole Cake Island, but not at the Reverie.
There's 2 infiltrations, and remember, this is the same supernova that tried to put a stop, well, did put a stop to Zoro trying to strike down Charlotte at Sabine Archipelago, so he wouldn't cause trouble for everybody else. So, and we know for a fact she has a huge problem with the world government, specifically with what Akainu did, and she escaped. And maybe it has something to do with Whitebeard. Maybe she owes a debt to Whitebeard back in the day. Unfortunately, this kind of confirms that we will not be seeing Bonney on Wano alongside the other supernova because with the worst generation, because this is a 7-day conference.
She has so much hatred for the Tenryubito. That's why she's here. Or the Gurusei. Maybe that's who Shanks warned them about. Maybe Shanks knew that Bonney was going to show up, but that could be a stretch. But it's cool to see Bonney back into the picture. I don't know what she's going to do at the Reverie. Again, the same comment during my live reaction video. Pretty much stated maybe she could team up with the Revolutionaries, or maybe she could become a revolutionary herself. That could be kind of cool. She kind of seems like that. She's on her own. We don't know what happened to her crew, so yeah, this could spell monstrous trouble because her Devil Fruit ability is a problem to the world government. We know that for a fact. So Bonney's going to do something. Maybe she'll team up with the Revolutionaries, possibly. Then we go. Listen. Then we go to, I guess, the meetings of the kingdoms. I guess the queens and the kings are getting ready for the meeting to discuss what to discuss. And notice how Cobra was the only one to actually think about Luffy. So, and he's going to become a target anyway. Not only because of his health, but also now there's 2 translations that I read when it comes to this scenario. When it came to the Gosei discussing about the Terra family from 800 years ago. There's 2 translations. The one I read during my live reaction was on Kiss Manga. Were the only ones of the founding 20 members who decided to remain on the surface 800 years ago. In other words, they are traitors. So did he figure something out? Obviously thinking about Cobra. Let's hope he doesn't make things complicated. On Manga Stream, this is what I read after the live reaction. So 800 years ago, the Nefertari family, or the bloodline, the Nefertari bloodline was the only one to choose to remain in the lower realms. In other words, they are traitors. So a little bit of a different dialogue. Same thing. Has he noticed something? I pray the talks do not go south. So then they continue to talk about the Kaido Big Mom situation, which to me, I don't know what Big Mom's going to do if he's going to show up on Wano. But obviously now, the Nefertari family has a connection with the 800 years. What happened 800 years ago? Listen, Oda, I don't care what it takes. After Wano, we better get a flashback about the Void Century because this is all leading towards that, in my opinion. You have way too many sources about the Void Century. You have the empty throne that was forged 800 years ago, and you also have the Kazuki clan, or the stonemasons of the Kazuki clan that forged the poneglyphs all now. So we better get a flashback arc about the Void Century. Once we get to Robin, I think we will. Then we go to, I guess, the inside of the Pungade Castle, the flower room, and this is where we get to see the silhouette. It looks like a queen, Your Highness. Again, there's 2 different translations of the names. It's Yim and Ima. So I don't know which is. Either way, I think that's a queen, the silhouette queen that we saw with the straw hat in the open up the chambers for the, I guess, the giant straw hat. And she's the one that sits on the empty throne, apparently. So they have all gathered. So I guess she's the one that's going to oversee the revelry and what to talk about. Then this is where they set up, in my opinion.
To me, there's another type of foreshadowing as well, when there's a comment made by the balance of the world cannot be maintained forever. it seems like there is a need for a great cleansing. To me, been 2 years since the Summit War. It seems like the waves of disturbance cannot be prevented anymore. Sounds to me that's foreshadowing in the war or the final arc of the series, in my opinion. Then we go to the inside Pange Castle. The translations of the name of this Highness or the Queen is, she has a fascination about butterflies and flowers apparently, which I may be the only one that thinks this, but doesn't Nico Robin also have a fascination with flowers? I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there when it comes to nature and stuff. But apparently her name's Ima-sama, so...
We see this silhouetted queen with a bunch of posters and bounty posters, I guess, or pictures. Look, okay, you see a sword. One of them is clearly stabbing through Shirahoshi. You see the four that are noticed, in my opinion, are Blackbeard, Luffy, Shirahoshi, and then what she's holding is a picture of Vivi. So, to me, it's like, that is obviously symbolism for a kidnapping. So, my question is this. Because she has some type of influence from the past, like, does she know about the ancient weapons? Does she know about Shirahoshi being an ancient weapon, Poseidon? Because you don't put a knife in a picture unless you want that person dead. What we know our capabilities are if she ever awakens it. Apparently, Fujitora actually set up a meeting between King Cobra and King Riku of the Dressrosa and Alabastan Kingdoms, which is ironic because they both had similar circumstances when it comes to the Shishibukai. Obviously, Alabasta, when it came to the crocodile, he terrorized Alabasta. Same thing with Doflamingo when it comes to Dressrosa. So they have similar circumstances. So I thought that was kind of ironic. And another thing, too, is Fujitora knows the shit that went down on Dressrosa, which may be the reason why he initiated that meeting to begin with. Maybe that's Fujitora's plan for him to bring up what happened with the Shishibukai to abolish that system. Maybe he's going to use not only King Cobra but also Riku to let's get rid of the Shishibukai system because they're fucking up the new world for us. So maybe that's why the reason Fujitora did that. So why is Vivi in the clutches of this mysterious queen? It has to relate to something with Alabasta, what happened 800 years ago. Maybe they know, and the only thing I can think of is, but again, obviously there's a connection when it comes to the world government. They're traitors. They decided to request the Holy Land, I guess. They turned it down, and maybe they knew the reason. Maybe the secret's on that poneglyph we saw in Alabasta. Maybe invested in Vivi, unless it has something to do with the conversation with King Cobra that had with Nico Robin about the ancient weapon back on Alabasta. And again, I find it ironic because again, Shirahoshi was also an ancient weapon that was mentioned. There was a discussion between Robin and King Neptune about her being the ancient weapon Poseidon. So I think that's, and another thing too is obviously Luffy and Blackbeard. The fact that their bounty posters were also visible. That's just similar type of foreshadowing for the one of the final battles of the series. So that's who Shanks also was talking about. Maybe he was talking about Blackbeard. Because why were those four pictures the only visible ones out of the group of posters that we saw? Ending off with, I guess, Ima or Yama, whoever this queen is, sitting on the empty throne with the 5 elders, the Gorosei, bowed down. And it's like, Your Highness, the candle that should have been snuffed from history has once again, have you decided? If so, give us the name, and I'm guessing the target. And to me, that, Your Highness, so obviously if it was a kid, then you said Your Majesty, but obviously they said the Highness. So obviously we see the silhouette. It could be somebody who has big knowledge when it comes to the history of the world. So I can't wait for this reveal. But obviously, give us a name of who you selected to target next. Maybe this is going to be a similar situation with what happened with Ohara, because how worried they are about people who have history of the void century. It could be Vivi who's the target, and if it's not, it's got to be Shirahoshi. But let me know what you guys think down below. Obviously, this was a crazy chapter. We're on break next week, so obviously once we get back, maybe we'll find out more about this. But like I said, we need to get a flashback about a Void Century. I'm just saying. So let me know your comments down below. That's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Like this review if you did. Appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel for more One Piece. Catch you guys later.